Paul Bunyan and the Great Lakes. You just learned that the Ice Age glaciers formed the Great Lakes, but have you ever heard the story of Paul Bunyan, the giant woodsman? Paul Bunyan stories are folk tales. Some parts of a folk tale are just made up. They are not true. Paul Bunyan, so the tale goes, was born in Maine. He was so big that he slept in a cradle floating in the ocean. When he grew up, Paul decided the East was too crowded. He headed to the Midwest to work in the lumber camps. Paul's best friend, Babe, a blue ox, came with him. If a road was too crooked, Paul just hitched Babe to the road and pulled it straight. On the way to Wisconsin, Paul and Babe walked through a marshy place. Their very large footprints left deep holes in the ground. Then, in just a few giant steps, Paul climbed to the top of a mountain. Wanting a little fun, he jumped into the Wisconsin River below. The great splash scattered water all over. The water filled up the footprints and made the Great Lakes. The great splash made lots of smaller lakes too. One day, Paul was floating logs down the Wisconsin River. He saw them all jammed up. Nothing would move. The log jam was 200 feet high. The jam was too big for even Paul and his crew to break up. Paul called Babe over and started to tickle him with a pine tree. Babe thought that a bunch of flies were bothering him. He swished his tail to chase them away. The wind was so strong that soon the river started flowing backward. The log jam broke up. When all the trees in Wisconsin had been cut down, Babe and Paul moved west. They worked in lumber camps in Minnesota, the Dakotas, and Montana. Those are adventure stories for another time. And if you have time on your own, there's an activity here to write a fictional story of your own. And as we continue, we wrap up Chapter 1 here. There are the Chapter 1 review questions, the activity, reading a map, and then a map of Wisconsin. Please feel free to take a look at on your own with the group or your class if you have time.